John Carter walked into the huge meeting room where alien leaders from across the galaxy waited for him. The room was filled with creatures that looked nothing like humans. Some had wings like giant insects, others had scales like snakes, and a few glowed with strange lights. They all sat around a massive table that could fit 100 people. The air felt heavy with tension. John knew this meeting would change everything for humanity. He had been Earth's main representative for 2 years now, trying to make peace with these powerful alien races. But today felt different. Today felt like the end. The Zephyrian High Chancellor stood up first. He was tall, maybe 10 feet high, with crystal-clear wings that made clicking sounds when he moved. His bug-like eyes stared down at John with what looked like pleasure. The Chancellor enjoyed having power over others. "Human representative," the Chancellor said, his voice coming through a machine that translated his clicking sounds into English. "We have been very patient with your kind." Too patient, some would say. John stayed calm on the outside, but inside he felt angry. These aliens had been making demands for months. They wanted Earth to give up its colonies on other planets. They wanted humans to stop building new technology. They wanted Earth to become like a servant to their empire. Captain Lisa Hayes sat next to John. She wore her Earth Defense Force uniform, and her gray eyes never looked away from the aliens. She was a soldier, and John could tell she was ready for whatever might happen. Her hand rested near her weapon, though she tried to hide it. General Vex of the Chromac Empire spoke next. He looked like a giant lizard walking on 2 legs with sharp teeth and claws. His people were known for being cruel in war. "Your 30 days of thinking time are over," General Vex said, his words coming out like a growl. "Today you will accept our terms or face the results." The other alien leaders nodded their agreement. There were 5 main groups that controlled most of the galaxy: the Zephyrians with their crystal wings, the Chromac Empire with their lizard-like warriors, the Stellar Collective that looked like living metal, the Void-Touched who seemed to be made of shadow and darkness, and the Eternals who were so old that some people said they had been alive since the galaxy was young. All of these groups had joined together to force humanity to obey them. They had done this to many other young species before. It always worked. The new races would fight a little, then give up when they saw how powerful the Galactic Empire was. "Let me make our terms very clear," the Chancellor continued. "First, you will give up all your colonies beyond the Sol system. Humans will stay in their home system only." John felt his jaw tighten, but he said nothing. "Second, you will allow us to put limits on your technology. No more building new weapons, no more exploring space. We will decide what your people can and cannot do." Captain Hayes' hand moved slightly closer to her weapon. John noticed but kept his face blank. "Third, Earth will pay us tribute every year. Food, materials, and people to work for us. You will be under our protection, and protection costs money." Elder Thane of the Eternals spoke for the first time. His voice sounded like wind blowing through old caves. "These terms are generous. Other species that refused our offer no longer exist." John knew this was true. The aliens had destroyed entire civilizations that would not bend to their will. Planets turned to ash. Billions of people dead. The galaxy feared these 5 groups. For good reason. "We are not unreasonable," General Vex added, showing his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. "You have one more chance to choose wisely." The room became quiet. All the alien leaders stared at John, waiting for his answer. They expected him to say yes. In their experience, humans were just another weak species that would give up when faced with real power, but John had a secret. For the past year, while he had been sitting in these peace talks, Earth had been busy. Very busy. President Karen Mitchell and the military leaders had been preparing for this exact moment. The aliens thought they knew everything about human capabilities. They thought Earth's small fleet of ships and basic weapons were all humanity had. They were wrong. John stood up slowly. He could feel the aliens watching him, expecting him to beg for mercy or ask for more time. "I need to talk to my government about this," John said in a calm voice. The Chancellor's wings buzzed with annoyance. "You have had months to prepare. What more is there to discuss? I just need to make sure everyone on Earth understands your generous offer, John replied. He was being sarcastic, but he said it so politely that some of the aliens did not catch it. You have 6 hours, the Chancellor declared. We have other business to handle. When we return, we expect your complete surrender. The other aliens laughed and made various sounds of agreement. They were already thinking about how to divide up human resources among themselves. John and Captain Hayes walked out of the meeting room together. The hallway was long and empty, with walls that showed pictures of the galaxy. As soon as they were alone, Lisa spoke quietly. Are you ready for this? She asked. John nodded. More ready than they know. The fleet is in position. Every ship, every station, every colony. They think we are weak and alone. John allowed himself a small smile. They are about to learn how wrong they are. Lisa smiled too. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator that had been pretending to be prey. Then let's show them what humanity really is. She sighed. They walked toward their ship, knowing that the next few hours would change the galaxy forever. The aliens thought they had cornered humanity. Instead, they had just triggered the most dangerous species in the galaxy to stop playing nice. The universe was about to learn why humans had spent so long talking about peace. It was not because they were weak. It was because they preferred peace to the alternative, but when peace was no longer an option, humanity had other skills. President Karen Mitchell sat behind her desk in the White House, looking at screens that showed military leaders from around Earth. The room was filled with the most important people in human government and defense. Everyone knew that today would change everything on the main screen. John Carter's face appeared from the alien space station where the peace talks were happening. His voice came through clearly despite being millions of miles away. Madam President, they gave us exactly what we expected, John said. Complete surrender or total war, no middle ground. No compromise, they think we are trapped. Admiral Jack? Collins leaned forward in his chair. He was the head of Earth's Space Navy, and he had been planning for this day for over a year. John, how much time do we have? 6 hours to give them our answer. I suggest we use every minute to get our people ready. General Susan Brooks was sitting quietly in the corner, but now she spoke up. She had been working on the secret evacuation plans for months. All our ships are waiting at the edge of every human colony. Our people know what to do when they get the signal. President Mitchell looked around the room at her advisors. These were the smartest and bravest people on Earth. They had spent the last year preparing for this moment, while the aliens thought humans were just talking and wasting time. Are our defensive systems ready? The president asked. Dr. Richard Kane, the head of Earth's secret weapons program, nodded. Better than ready, man. The aliens have no idea what we have been building. They think our technology is primitive because that is what we wanted them to think. The truth was that humans had been hiding their real capabilities for decades. While the aliens were busy fighting each other and controlling weaker species, humanity had been quietly developing new technology. They had learned from every alien encounter, every piece of technology they could study, and every weakness they could find. Captain Hayes appeared on another screen from the shuttle that would take John back to Earth. Ma'am, our border stations are reporting increased alien military movement. They are positioning fleets near our territory. Let them come, President Mitchell said with a cold smile. Susan, is Operation Silent Departure ready to begin? General. Brooks nodded. Every human colony has evacuation ships ready. Every important facility has self-destruct charges. Every military base has hidden weapon systems. When we give the signal, we will disappear from alien sensors completely. The plan was simple but brilliant. While the aliens expected humans to either surrender or fight a desperate last battle, humanity would do something else entirely. They would vanish. For the past year, humans had been building secret bases in asteroid fields, hidden planets, and empty space between star systems. They had been moving their most important people and equipment to places the aliens did not know about. They had been preparing to abandon everything the aliens could see and attack. "How long until our people are safe?" President Mitchell asked. 12 hours after we give the signal, General Brooks replied. "Every civilian will be in a secure location. Every military asset will be hidden or moved to secret bases." Admiral Collins brought up a star map that showed human territory. Red dots marked alien fleets moving toward human space. Blue dots showed human ships ready to execute the withdrawal. "Madam President, we have been underestimated by every major power in the galaxy," Admiral Collins said. "They think we are weak because we chose to talk instead of fight. They think we are desperate because we stayed in peace talks for so long. They have no idea that we were buying time to prepare." Dr. Kane activated another screen that showed images of new human technology. Ships that could bend space around. Weapons that could make things disappear completely. Defensive systems that could hide entire planets from alien sensors. "The aliens demanded to see our military capabilities," Dr. Kane said with a grin. "I think we can arrange a demonstration. They will never forget." President Mitchell stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see normal people going about their daily lives. They had no idea that their leaders were about to make the most important decision in human history. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, turning back to face the room, "today we stop pretending to be weak. Today we stop begging for peace from bullies who only understand strength. Today we remind the galaxy that humanity chooses its own path." She walked back to her desk and pressed a button that opened a direct line to John Carter. "John, here is our response to the aliens. Tell them that humanity rejects their terms completely. Tell them that we are withdrawing from all galactic treaties and trade agreements. Tell them that human space is now closed to all alien traffic." John's face showed a small smile. "It will be my pleasure, Madam President." 6 hours later, John Carter stood once again in the alien meeting room. The 5 species were waiting impatiently for humanity's surrender. They had already started discussing how to divide up Earth's resources among themselves. The Chancellor's crystal wings buzzed with excitement. "Well, human, have you come to accept our generous terms?" John looked around the room at all the alien leaders. These creatures had conquered dozens of species. They had destroyed entire civilizations. They thought they were about to add humanity to their list of victories. "Honorable members of the Council," John said in a polite voice that somehow sounded dangerous, "the United Earth government has carefully considered your offer." The aliens leaned forward, expecting to hear words of surrender. "We decline," John said simply. The room exploded with angry sounds. Clicking, roaring, electronic buzzing, and other noises as the aliens processed this unexpected answer. "You refuse?" General Vex snarled, his claws scratching the table. "Your species will be crushed like insects." John's smile grew wider. "Actually, we are done here completely. Humanity is withdrawing from all galactic politics. As of right now, human space is closed to everyone. Impossible." The Chancellor screamed, "You cannot survive without galactic trade." John turned to Captain Hayes, who pressed a button on her wrist. Across human space, the message went out instantly. Every human colony, every ship, every military base received the same signal. Operation Silent Departure had begun. "We will see," John said calmly as he and Captain Hayes walked toward the door. "Goodbye." Behind them, the alien rulers were already planning their attack, certain that humanity would collapse within weeks. They had no idea that they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. 3 months had passed since humanity told the galaxy to leave them alone. Admiral Torvin of the Stellar Collective stood on the bridge of his massive warship, staring out at empty space where a busy human trading post used to be. The station was still there, but it was dark and silent. No lights, no ships coming and going, no radio signals. It looked like a ghost floating in the darkness of space. "Report," Admiral Torvin ordered his crew. Lieutenant Kex, a young officer with metal skin that reflected the bridge lights, checked his instruments. "Nothing again, sir. No energy readings from any human locations, no ship movements, no communications. It is like they all just disappeared. This was the same report coming from every place where aliens used to trade with humans, empty stations, silent colonies, dark planets. Humanity had simply vanished behind a wall of nothing that made the alien leaders more nervous every day. Admiral Torvin had been watching the human border for 2 months now. His job was to find out what the humans were really doing. Were they hiding, building weapons, asking other species for help? He had no answers, and that scared him. Back on the Zephyrian homeworld, the Galactic Council was meeting more often than ever before. What they had expected to be a quick victory over humanity had turned into something completely different. Elder Thane of the Eternals spoke in his old, tired voice that sounded like wind through ancient caves. In my 12,000 years of life, I have seen many species rise and fall. Some fought us with great battles. Some tried to run away to distant stars. Some begged for mercy, but none have ever just disappeared like this. The other alien leaders shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They were used to being in control, used to knowing what their enemies were doing. This silence from humanity was something new and frightening. General Vex slammed his clawed fist on the table, making the other aliens jump. They are hiding somewhere, building weapons or making deals with our enemies. We should attack immediately and end this game. Attack what? Chancellor Zex asked, his crystal wings shaking with worry. Our scouts cannot find any human military targets. Every border world appears empty. Every trade route they used is abandoned. The Chancellor did not want to admit something that was making him very afraid. Human trade had been more important to the galaxy than anyone realized. Without human merchants, shipping companies, and trade agreements, the galactic economy was starting to have serious problems. On the Chromac homeworld, factories were closing because they could not get the rare materials that humans used to provide. The Void-Touched were fighting among themselves because human diplomats were no longer there to help solve their disputes. Even the mighty Stellar Collective was having trouble keeping their vast empire running smoothly without human technical support. The aliens had thought they were doing humanity a favor by letting them join galactic civilization. Now they were discovering that humans had been doing favors for everyone else. In a hidden asteroid base far from any star, Commander Ellen Scott watched these developments through secret monitoring equipment. Her team had been spying on alien communications for weeks, and what they heard made her smile. "Ma'am," her communications officer, Lieutenant Ben Foster, said, "we are picking up panic signals from all 5 alien powers. They are moving military fleets to our old borders, but they seem confused about what to do next." Ellen nodded as she read the latest intelligence reports. The aliens were exactly where humanity wanted them to be. Confused, worried, and making mistakes. "Any word from Dr. Kane?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. He says the new weapons are ready for field testing." Admiral Collins is very excited about the demonstration. Ellen looked out through the asteroid base's hidden windows at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the alien fleets were searching for humans to fight. They would find them soon enough, but not in the way they expected. Meanwhile, deep inside Earth's moon, Dr. Richard Kane was putting the final touches on humanity's greatest secret project. For decades, while the aliens thought humans were primitive and weak, Earth's best scientists had been working on technology that would change everything. "Dr. Chun," he called to his assistant, "are the field generators ready for deployment?" Dr. Marie Chien looked up from her computer screen, her eyes bright with excitement. "All systems are green, Richard. The test runs have been perfect. When we activate these devices, the aliens are going to get the surprise of their lives." Dr. Kane smiled as he looked at the sleek machines that filled the secret laboratory. These were not just weapons. They were tools that could bend the very laws of physics. Technology that made human ships faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Defensive systems that could make entire fleets invisible or untouchable. The aliens had demanded to see human military capabilities. Dr. Kane was very happy to arrange a demonstration. Back in the Galactic Council chambers, the alien leaders were arguing more loudly than ever before. "We look weak," General Vex roared. Every species in the galaxy is watching to see what we do about the humans. If we do nothing, others might try the same thing. If we attack blindly, we might be walking into a trap, Elder Thane warned. The humans were always cleverer than we gave them credit for. Chancellor Zex's wings buzzed with frustration. Our economy is suffering. Our people are asking questions. We need to do something soon, or our own populations might start to doubt our power. Unknown to the aliens, their communications were being monitored by human intelligence agents hidden throughout the galaxy. Every word they spoke, every plan they made, every fear they expressed was being reported back to Earth. President Mitchell read these reports with satisfaction. The alien coalition was falling apart exactly as humanity had hoped. Their arrogance had blinded them to how much they actually depended on human cooperation. Admiral Collins entered the president's office with the latest military updates. Ma'am, our deep space sensors show alien fleets massing near the Ross 128 system. They seem to think we have a major base there. President Mitchell raised an eyebrow. Do we? Admiral Collins grinned. We do now. Captain Hayes volunteered to meet them there with one of our new ships. She is very eager to show the aliens what they have been missing. The president nodded approvingly. Then let us give them exactly what they are looking for. It is time for the galaxy to learn that humanity's silence was not weakness, it was preparation. 6 months after humanity disappeared from galactic politics, the alien coalition finally decided to act. They could not stand the silence anymore. They needed to find humans and force them to surrender, or their own people would start asking difficult questions. Admiral Torvin led the largest attack fleet ever assembled by the 5 galactic powers. Over 300 warships from all the alien races flew together toward the Ross 128 system. Their spies had reported that humans might have a secret base there. The fleet was impressive and terrifying. Massive Zephyrian carriers with crystal hulls that sparkled in starlight. Chromac battle cruisers covered in armor and bristling with weapons. Stellar collective ships that looked like flying cities made of metal. Void-touched vessels that seemed to absorb light itself. Even the ancient Eternals had sent their most powerful warships. Admiral Torvin stood on the bridge of his flagship, feeling confident for the first time in months. Whatever the humans were hiding, they could not possibly stand against 300 of the galaxy's most advanced warships. Sir, his sensor officer reported, we are approaching the target system. Scanning for human vessels. Put it on the main screen, Admiral Torvin ordered. What they found waiting for them was not what anyone expected. Instead of a hidden fleet or a fortified base, there was just one ship. A single human vessel hanging motionless in space like it was waiting for them. The ship was unlike anything in their databases. It was sleek and dark, shaped like a sword blade, and it gave off energy readings that made their instruments scream warnings. Every scanner that looked at it reported different results, as if the ship was not quite real. One ship? Admiral Torvin asked in disbelief. They sent one ship against 300? Lieutenant Kex checked his readings again. Sir, I am detecting only one human vessel. It appears to be called the Liberty according to our translation. Computers. Admiral Torvin laughed, and the sound was picked up by communication systems throughout the fleet. Soon, aliens on hundreds of ships were laughing at the humans' foolishness. Open a channel to the human ship, Admiral Torvin commanded. The communication screen activated, showing the bridge of the human vessel. A woman in an Earth Defense Force uniform stood calmly in the center of the screen. Her gray eyes looked directly at Admiral Torvin with no fear at all. Unknown human vessel, Admiral Torvin announced, his voice being broadcast to every ship in the fleet so they could all hear humanity's surrender. You are outnumbered 300 to 1. Surrender immediately and your crew will be treated according to galactic law. Captain Lisa Hayes looked at the alien admiral for a long moment before responding. When she spoke, her voice was calm and clear, and somehow more frightening than any threat could have been. Admiral Torvin, this is Captain Lisa Hayes of the Earth Defense Force ship Liberty. You have entered human space without permission during a state of declared isolation. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal, or we will consider this an act of war. The alien fleet erupted in laughter again. The communications channels filled with alien voices making jokes about human stupidity. One ship against 300, and the humans were giving them ultimatums? 30 seconds have passed, Captain Hayes announced. So be it. What happened next would be studied in military schools across the galaxy for centuries. The Liberty did not fire lasers or launch missiles like normal warships. Instead, it seemed to reach out and touch reality itself. Admiral Torvin watched in complete horror as the massive Chromac dreadnought Bone Crusher, one of the most powerful warships ever built, simply folded in on itself and vanished. Not destroyed. With explosions and debris, not damaged or disabled. Gone as if it had never existed at all. All ships' evasive maneuvers. Admiral Torvin screamed into his communicator. But the Liberty was already moving. The human ship moved through space like it was swimming through water instead of flying. It appeared behind ships, touched them somehow, and they disappeared. Number. Explosions, no wreckage, no escape pods. Just empty space where mighty warships had been moments before. The stellar collective cruiser Iron Mountain tried to ram the Liberty, but the human ship simply became transparent and let the alien vessel pass through it like a ghost. Then the Liberty became solid again and the Iron Mountain was gone. "This is impossible," Admiral Torvin whispered as he watched his fleet being erased from existence. "No technology can do this." His science officer, a nervous creature with too many eyes, was staring at readings that made no sense. "Sir, the human ship appears to be manipulating space and time itself. It is phasing in and out of our dimension. Our weapons cannot target something that exists and does not exist at the same time." In 15 minutes, the alien fleet went from 300 ships to 30. The Liberty moved through them like death itself, untouchable and unstoppable. Ships that had conquered star systems, vessels that had destroyed entire planets, warships that had never known defeat. All vanished without even slowing the human vessel down. Captain Hayes' voice came through the communication system again, now speaking to the few surviving alien ships that were trying desperately to escape. "This is your final warning. Withdraw immediately or join your friends wherever they have gone." Admiral Torvin did not need to be told twice. All remaining ships retreat, full speed back to galactic space. The 30 surviving vessels fled as fast as their engines could carry them, leaving behind the most devastating military defeat in galactic history. Hours later, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. The alien leaders who had been so confident and arrogant now sat in stunned silence as they tried to process what had happened. Elder Thane's ancient crystalline form seemed even dimmer than usual. 270 ships, gone without a trace. In 15 minutes. General Vex, who had been demanding military action for months, now spoke in a whisper. "How is this possible? What kind of weapons can make ships simply disappear?" "Chancellor." Zex's crystal wings were folded tight against his body in a posture of fear and submission. "We never understood them at all. While we thought they were weak, they were developing technology beyond our imagination." "The question now," said Elder Thane slowly, "is what other capabilities do humans possess that we know nothing about?" Back on Earth, President Mitchell received the report of the battle with satisfaction. Admiral Collins stood beside her desk, grinning like he had just won the greatest prize in the universe. "One ship, Madam President." Captain Hayes took on 300 alien warships with one ship and sent 30 home to spread the word. "And the ships that disappeared?" Dr. Kane, who had joined them to discuss the test results, looked very pleased with himself. "Sent to a pocket dimension we created specifically for this purpose. They are perfectly safe, just existing in a place where the aliens cannot reach them. We can bring them back any time we want, though I doubt their crews would thank us." President Mitchell nodded approvingly. "I think the galaxy is beginning to understand that humanity's desire for peace was never a sign of weakness. Admiral Collins activated a screen showing alien communications that human spies had intercepted. "Ma'am, we are picking up panic signals from all 5 alien powers. They are recalling their fleets from human borders and calling emergency meetings." "Good," President Mitchell said. "Let them think about what they have learned, and let them wonder what else they do not know about us." In space stations and alien worlds across the galaxy, the news spread quickly. Humanity had revealed capabilities that seemed impossible. The species that the aliens had dismissed as primitive had technology that could erase entire fleets from existence. The balance of power in the galaxy had changed forever, and everyone knew it. 1 year after humanity disappeared from galactic politics, the galaxy looked completely different. The 5 alien powers that had once ruled everything were now struggling just to keep their own territories under control. President Karen Mitchell sat in her office on Luna Station, Earth's new orbital headquarters, reading reports from across human space. Through the large windows, she could see Earth below, beautiful and blue, now protected by defensive systems that made it impossible for any alien force to threaten. Admiral Jack Collins entered with intelligence briefings from their spy networks throughout the galaxy. "Madam President, the situation continues to develop in our favor. 3 of the 5 coalition powers are now fighting each other openly." "Tell me the details," President Mitchell said, setting down her coffee. "The Stellar Collective and the Void Touched are in a full war over trade routes that humans used to manage peacefully. Without human merchants to coordinate shipping, both sides are claiming the same space lanes. They have destroyed over 50 ships fighting each other in the past month." President Mitchell nodded. This was exactly what human strategists had predicted. The aliens had never learned to cooperate without someone else doing the difficult work of negotiation and compromise. "What about the Chromac Empire?" Admiral Collins smiled grimly. "Internal rebellion on 15 worlds now. Their economy depended much more on human trade than their leaders ever admitted to their own people. When that trade disappeared, their citizens started asking why their government had driven away their most reliable partners. And the others? The Eternals have pulled back to their core systems and refuse to answer communications from anyone. Our intelligence suggests they are scared of what other technologies humanity might possess. As for the Zephyrians..." Admiral Collins paused, looking amused. "Yes? Chancellor Zex has been sending messages requesting new peace talks every day for 3 weeks. Each message sounds more desperate than the last." Dr. Richard Kane joined them, carrying data tablets filled with reports about humanity's continued technological advancement. "Madam President, I have updates on our expansion programs." "Go ahead, Richard." "Our new colonies in the Outer Rim are exceeding all expectations. Without alien interference, we have established settlements in 12 star systems that were previously unexplored. Our population growth rate has increased by 40%, and our technological development..." Dr. Kane grinned. "Let me just say that what Captain Hayes showed the aliens was only the beginning." President Mitchell walked to the window and looked out at the space around Earth. Hundreds of human ships moved through the system, carrying supplies to new colonies, exploring unknown regions, and defending humanity's growing territory. The species that had once been confined to a single star system was now expanding freely across the galaxy. "Ma'am," Captain Hayes reported through the communication system from her patrol ship near the galactic border, "we have another situation. A Zephyrian diplomatic convoy is requesting permission to enter human space. They are broadcasting messages about wanting to discuss mutual cooperation and respect between our species." President Mitchell almost laughed. A year ago, these same aliens had demanded humanity's complete surrender. They had threatened to destroy Earth if humans did not become their servants. Now they were begging for a chance to talk. "Patch me through to Ambassador Carter," she said. John Carter appeared on the main communication screen from his office on New Geneva Station, humanity's new diplomatic center. Behind him, the station bustled with activity as humans conducted business with the few alien species that had chosen to approach humanity with respect rather than demands. "John, the Zephyrians want to negotiate." What is your assessment of their position? Ambassador Carter looked thoughtful. Madam President, our intelligence indicates that their empire is facing complete economic collapse. They need our trade agreements more than they need their pride. Food shortages on their core worlds, manufacturing shutdowns, civil unrest. They are desperate. And their military? After what happened at Ross 128, they have recalled all their fleets to defensive positions around their home systems. They are terrified of provoking another demonstration. General Susan Brooks joined the conversation from her office at Military Command. Madam President, we have been monitoring their communications. The other alien powers are also watching to see how we respond to the Zephyrian request. Our decision will send a message to every species in the galaxy. President Mitchell considered her options. Humanity had proven its point decisively. They were not the weak, desperate species the galaxy had assumed. The question now was how to use this new position of strength. Open a channel to the Zephyrian convoy, she decided. The communication screen changed to show Chancellor Zex himself, standing humbly in what appeared to be a simple transport ship rather than a grand diplomatic vessel. His proud crystal wings were folded in a posture of submission, and his voice carried none of its former arrogance. Honorable President Mitchell, he began, speaking carefully like someone who knew they were in a very weak position, the Zephyrian people seek to restore friendship with humanity. We realize that we may have misunderstood your species' capabilities and position in galactic affairs. President Mitchell looked at the alien leader who had once demanded Earth's surrender. The same being who had threatened to destroy human civilization was now begging for mercy. Chancellor Zex, she replied, her voice carrying the quiet authority of someone who held all the power in the negotiation. Humanity is willing to discuss new relationships with species that approach us with genuine respect. However, any future agreements will be based on terms very different from what you offered us last year. Chancellor Zex nodded eagerly. We understand completely. We are prepared to accept whatever terms humanity considers fair. Then you may enter our space, but you will follow our rules, respect our borders, and remember that this time you are the ones asking for our help. As the communication ended, President Mitchell turned to her advisors. The irony of the situation was not lost on any of them. The aliens who had once seen humanity as a species to be controlled now treated them as the most powerful force in the galaxy. Dr. Kane activated a display showing human territory. Blue dots marked established colonies, green dots showed new settlements, and white dots indicated exploration missions pushing into previously unknown space. Madam President, we have gone from controlling one star system to influencing 30 systems in just 1 year. Our technology is advancing faster than ever. Our people are healthier, happier, and more prosperous than at any point in human history. Admiral Collins added, and our military capabilities continue to grow. The aliens still have no idea what our true limits are, and frankly, neither do we. Every month, our scientists develop new possibilities. President Mitchell smiled as she looked at the reports. Humanity had learned the most important lesson in galactic politics. Sometimes the most dangerous option was not to fight, but to walk away and let your enemies realize how much they needed you. Send word to all human colonies, she said. We are no longer asking for our place in the galaxy. We are taking it. 5 years later, the galaxy had been completely restructured. The old coalition of alien powers had collapsed, replaced by humanity's cooperative commonwealth, where species worked together as equals rather than rulers and subjects. Earth had become the center of galactic civilization, not through conquest, but through proving that there was a better way to organize interstellar society. The species that had once been dismissed as primitive now led the galaxy toward a future none of them could have imagined, and in the darkness between stars, human exploration ships continued pushing the boundaries of known space, carrying with them the lesson that the galaxy had learned: never underestimate a species that chooses peace not from weakness, but from strength.